开一下。OK， 好了，可以了。
好的，好，大家好了，那就继续说。我自己个人的话呢，做了银行大概20年吧，然后之前是在 ATB， 然后现在是在 TD 以后大家多多关照线上的朋友你们好今天就说一下，大概就是说现在去年还有今年的现在这个卡拉加里那个市场，然后呢再跟大家过一下现在的那个 mortgage 的那个 regulation， 还有新的一些那个政策的变化，还有第3个的话呢，就是和大家探讨一下怎么样 adjust 这个 client 的有一些关于经济买房贷款上面的一些问题，然后最后一个 session 就 Q&A， 然后第一个那个 topic 的话呢，就大家就是跟大家需要一些信息，然后之后的话呢，大家要是有问题随时可以打断，没关系就不一定是要我自己英文说，要是想什么问题随时可以打断，我到后面catch up 就行了。
对，线上如果有问题，我这边会看线上的留言，对，随时可以提问好，没有问题。
好，那咱们那个房子，就是说咱们就先看 fundamental， 就是房价主要就是说看房价的走势主要看几个因素，刚需就主要是看人口的流动，还有看这个经济就业还有整个那个政治环境。所以说今天就这几个大方面跟大家过一过最近的那个情况。首先人口来说的话呢，去年的话是破纪录的一年就是直接上图表了。2023年的话呢，卡尔加里对不起，阿尔伯塔有55000人来阿尔伯塔，这个是1972年以来最大的，就是说就是人口流入，而且就是说这个人口流入呢，包括国际，甚至包括跨省就是说现在所有人都往卡尔加里来，就是除了加拿大以外的，还有包括加拿大的然后呢，就是说阿省是一枝独秀，就是在多数省份，除了一些那个海洋3省以外，多数人口流出的情况下，我们录得最大的人口进入，就是说现在大家都往那个2省挤然后呢，这个人口跟那个房价的关系呢，这一个呢是我之前用过的一个图表。我们在那个有几年是那个人口呢减少的，再往那个过去的30年来看，然后呢，大家要是记得，在10年，就是说我们呢06、07年那时候有个抢房小高峰，之后过了这个经济危机，然后那个油价往上涨以后呢，这个房价有达到高峰，然后呢，14年以后这个油价破灭，当时尤露斯裁员很厉害，就是说这个房价跟人口呢同时往下走，所以说这个是完全是正比关系人口跟这个房价。这个呢就是从一个图表来看，这个是人口流入流出，这个是 interprovincial， 就是说是各省的情况。主要呢，你看一个是那个 BC 跟 Ontario， 就2省是0，就是说你看有这么多人，每一个省这里显示就每一个省来就是说 let， 包括过去去别的省，然后来就是说有15000人进来2省，然后呢从 BC。安大略呢是23000，具体的数据是这样
刚刚那个图是属于外省流入的人口
对，就是所有的，所以说这里是0，因为这里是就是说除了2省是0，你看全加拿大的都往这里跑特别是那个安大略跟那个 BC 重灾区这2个人口大省所以说呢，要是有朋友说，哎呀，我现在你们都就是说很多人都去那个 BC， 就是说离开那个2省去 BC， 从数据上来说呢，这个就是说这个不是最准确的，的确呢，我们是有22000人去年从2省去 BC， 但是呢，有37000人从 BC 来阿尔伯塔，所以说我们的净流入呢是15000安大略就更厉害了，有38000来阿省，只有14000我们就是去那个安省的，然后呢，正流入从安省来的是23000人这个很厉害的，单计2个省4万的话呢，都是什么概念呢？就每天超过100多人，就是说单从这2个省来阿省的
每天100多人
，100多人，所以说单这2个省然后呢，这个是大概我们的那个 我们总共涨了20万人，一个400万人的时候，这个很厉害的。再这么走下去啊，每年要是按5%涨，我们大概10年我们人口就翻倍。但就是说你得维持这个基数啊，说这个是非常夸张的啊。这个是人口的一个那个 breakdown， 有很多这个temporary resident， 这个就包括工签，所谓的工签留学生啊40%，然后这个就是说登陆的啊，这部分就肯定买房租房的，好不好？所以说呢，有20万人要不你买房，要不就租房，要不就租 Vivian 的 basement 啊。所以说就是说那个他得解决，好吧？就要不你就住酒店 ，OK Airbnb， 这个就是说 natural increase， 这个就是小孩了，对吧？啊，然后呢，这个就是说30%，27%是那个就从别省过来的啊。所以说现在全世界都往2省挤啊，这个这么说可能也不过分。
为什么是20万，不是5万多的人口流入呢
？5万多那个是别的省过来的，
他刚说
还有
BC 跟
对，因为我从中国来的就不包括那个里面，包括就是说出生的，对吧？啊，然后下一个说完人口了，说从人口来说，我们这个就是说人口还有这个房价呢，这个是实打实的，这个不是一个 bubble 啊，因为你得解决这个20万人的一个 OK 这个一个 housing 的需求啊，从经济上来说啊。对房价的支撑也解释了为什么这么多人来。从这个是 GDP 啊，大家就知道这个 GDP， 所谓说你国家发不发达，说你经济好不好，就 GDP 就是gross domestic production per capita。我们的阿省的增长呢是2.1%，2.1%，这个是非常厉害的。因为你看别的那个其他那个 New Brunswick 啊，这些就不说了，但是你看几个经济大省，安省、魁省。还有这个 BC 都是1%以下的，我们已经是 GDP， 我们是就是说我们的经济产出是加拿大龙头的情况下呢，还增长2.1%，这个是很厉害的。
所以 PEI 跟那 New Brunswick 是什么理由？跟我们就也这么？
因为他 GDP 的话呢，他就说他们的基数小啊，所以说他们涨一点点啊，
比例上看着高。
对，因为你比如说你中国涨个1%。跟一个那个欧洲小国涨个1%，那个概念就不一样啊，因为那个就是说我们主要跟这个几个大省啊，跟这个因为呢，今年就是说是经济还有那个 resources 非常强势的一年，你看，包括沙省也达到那个1.7%，所以说我们经济面非常好啊，而且这个是最新的一个 report 是3月份。好了，这个还是这个经济，就是说从那个GDP 来看，阿省就是说一枝独秀。这个经济就是说这个 GDP 的增长，还有那个 forecast 啊，还有现在就是说那个这个还是人口啊，直线往上涨啊，所以说2024年的情况来看的话呢，这个势头呢暂时就是没有看到会减缓的迹象啊，所以说这个经济还有这个人口的话呢还得留有，所以说为什么大家看到这个房价往上涨，就是说大家都抢房，这个是有实际的需求支撑的。啊，这个还是一些经济数据，就是说，这个就比较 technical 了啊。就业，啊，这个就业增长，我们现在去年增长非常快，就是工作机会非常多 ，OK。然后呢，这个增长的话呢，我们会预测，这个就火热的经济的话呢，慢慢就是还会保持增长，但是呢，会稍微稳定下来一点，啊，这个就 housing stock， 就是说。这个就对我们就关系比较大了，这个增长是非常厉害的，30%几的那个 housing stock，OK， 啊，然后那个
housing stock 就是说没有盖房的
新房 permit issue 的那个 permit，OK， 然后呢 existing home price 就是说今年会达到一个顶峰，
已经11%。
对，所以说呢，这个预测还是相当准确的。
So Frank, you need to switch to English right now.
Okay, no problem. So just break it down some data. You know? Okay, party is over. Everybody.
Okay, yeah, grab your chairs.
I'm not so sure what's the meaning of the existing home price.
This is the percentage change. This is probably the median.
So we have
price.
2 versions. One is for Chinese, and one is for
the median price this year compared to last year. For example, median this year, you calculate, let's say 600,000. Last year is probably 550, right? And then you do a percentage.
Increase very rapid.
Yes, and that reflect on the market too.
Yeah, it's 11% already.
Yep. So it's at 8.5. That's pretty accurate because this is we do quarterly forecast. Okay, so that's like 1 or 2% of variance.
Hi,
Then
sorry,
see.
I have a question. 哎，你好，Frank，我问一下那个 Housing
好
Stars，
English.
你
Go
好，
ahead. Yeah.
能听见吗？
Yeah. Yeah. Speak English.
Oh, okay. So I wonder the Housing Stars numbers like 36, right? It's 36 grams, right? Oh, where you can find this like this data, where it come from?
So two sources. This thing I took it from TV Economist. And then you can also find from your website, correct? Right? CREA.
The
website.
CREA. Yeah.
And also most accurate. This we normally get it from Statistic Canada.
CIA maybe not cover the new bill.
Okay, so this is from Statistic Canada. If you guys want, I can share this data and this PowerPoint to Vivian's.
So you have the source on the bottom of the line.
Yeah. Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
See here. So statistic. So this is like include everything, but I think particular for Housing Star is from like Statistic Canada or CMC. So that's what normally see. Yeah, that's exactly what I mentioned. Some is from real estate board in Canada.
Yeah, Canada.
And some is statistic. But if you want to find out where exactly this come from, I can do more digging out for.
I have another question.
Yes.
So why in 2023 the existing home price only increased 0.6?
Yeah, the second. Yeah, last second row.
The second last.
Yeah, second last row. Yeah.
Because compared to 2000, I don't know, compared to
2022, I do believe the average price increased definitely more than that. It's
More
like
than
double
0.6,
digits. Yeah. This one.
This year.
Yeah, that's why also
Annual.
that was why it's 8.5.
Yeah, that's the average. Yeah.
That's including condos, everything. You sure, right?
Yeah.
Definitely higher.
Definitely higher. I can do more dig out about it this point. I don't know. Because this is compared to 2022.
Yeah.
So it's like 10%, right?
Oh, you mean this based on now
This is
compared back?
percentage.
Yeah, previous year. Yeah, previous year.
So
Compare previous year.
I don't know because I know for a fact like this year is crazy compared to last year. But from 2023, because end of 2000,
Yeah, it's,
2022.
It was
Yeah.
double digit.
yeah, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can find more. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, this number maybe you need to adjust. Yeah.
Okay. Because 2022 already went up because it was after COVID, right? Because last year we had a good year, but the year before,
The 10 years before.
I don't know. I think it's per year base, but we can look into it. Yeah, we have a lot to
yeah.
cover. So,
Next one.
but the trend is this year we went up about like we even said 10% than last year.
Yeah.
And
It will continue to go up.
it will continue to go up, but maybe not as crazy as this year.
Yeah.
That's what we predict, which is healthy because you don't want like build a big bubble, right? Just for it to bust in the future.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so again, economy. The last big thing coming is we talked about this for years. So because Calgary, I always tell clients, is oil and gas town. It's two kind of people, to be simple. Oil and gas and oil and gas service. To be honest, I'm oil and gas service because most of our clients, engineers, oil and gas. We are natural resource orientated province, and that's nothing more about it. So Trans Mountain, this pipeline, we spent like 34 billions. It started with a budget of 7.7 billion. So the budget has been like 5 times due to inflation, COVID. But anyhow, we are in the finish line of this pipeline. It's gonna bump up the existing transportation from 300,000 to about like 900,000. So also for the first time, the Canada oil can be sold to outside of states because right now 99% of our oil only sell to states and even sell to Asia via Texas. So this is like for first time ever, we're gonna sell our oil to China, to Japan, to Korea, and actually the first ever barrel is sold to China via Suncor, via this pipeline, and this pipeline gonna finish, and it's already close to finished, and they're gonna fill in oil in April, and the Premier Daniel Smith just said it's gonna operate before
Yesterday's news.
July.
Yeah, yeah.
See, it's pretty.
Yeah, but I heard that
Up to date.
the indigenous, they refuse to pass the race.
It's done. Yes. This baby has come through a lot of hustles. You know, it has opposition from other political parties and indigenous, and actually, so it's really hard for and the main hustle is for the indigenous community outside of the rule of the poverty, because around the rule of poverty, they already, because this is gonna bring them like hundreds of millions like a year, so they are supported, but it's for a lot of indigenous community outside the planet. So what is going to do for me, you know? So we won't able to take care. And actually, they're talking about this now. This Trans Mountain is owned by Canada. It's a corn corporation.
Okay.
So they are trying to sell it.
Okay.
So if you get money, you can bid on this project. But what I heard is the indigenous community, they actually try to buy this project. So because it also make social sense, you know, because pass our land, you know, we wanna like take a share, and this is gonna be like so profitable because not sure everybody know, we use when we're talking about oil price, there's two price index. One is WTI, and WTI is based on Texas, based on Cushing, and this is about $10 lower than the one like in the world in Europe. So when we sell oil to Asia, now we're gonna use the brand oil instead of the WTI oil price. So now the market is bigger, more access, and then we don't have to depend on only one customer, because now we only have one customer from States. So this is like very big thing for the oil gas industry. And because the pipeline, our production of oil is at all-time high. So it means the oil and gas company, they will have more productions, hire more people, and they will have more profit, pay more taxes, more money, more loyalty goes to the province coffin. So if they need to build more school, more hospital, they don't have to tax us more, because now they get more money. Yeah, I'm not sure everybody hears. At some time, 2004, the premier at the time, Klein, they hand out $400 to every people in Alberta, because we had like a budget profit at the time. So not sure it's gonna happen in the future, but we'll see. Yeah, so yeah, that's a lot of discussion at the time, and people saying, yeah, you know what, you shouldn't take money to build a hospital at the time, right? But at the time, like Klein decided to give $400 to everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, this is a residential investment, so it means like builders, you know, or small big builder, their momentum to build and invest in construction and housing in Calgary still, you know, is pretty high in Alberta. So because they see the demands keep going up. And next one is I want to cover interest rate. So this is like not mortgage rate, okay? This is the thing you see, not mortgage rate. It's like, oh, come on, like where can I get 4.5 or where can I get like 3%? So what this mean? This Canada, this state. So bond yield, I think some people might know. For people don't know, so bond yield is the government bond. In Chinese, it's called 债券.
Yeah.
In so what's this is, so how the banks, how we issue residential mortgages, how we do the pricing is. So when we decide mortgage rates, when we lend out mortgages, when you're buying a house, or your client buying a house, when they issue mortgages, we don't give you the money that you deposit in the bank. It's not like, okay, hey, I'm buying on my GIC, I'm buying like some RSP. We don't lend out those money. So what happened is those monies stay in the bank as a capital, just in case you come to withdraw today, right? So what happened is we take all the requests, we go to the market, we issue bonds. So we issue bond as like we're selling you bond to get money so that we can rent out and make profit. And the cost directly related to bond yield, because government operate the same, because government, they need budget, they need send money to this, send money to that, so send money to provinces, and then like defense, education, government need money to operate. So they issue government bonds. And we, for banks, for example, big five banks, we had to issue bond at a higher premium than the government because government bond is safe. The risky your company or your entity is, the higher the bond you, because government, like come on, they pay money, right? The chances stay and Canada government gonna bankrupt, it's pretty low, you know. But TD, RBC, pretty safe, but riskier than government Canada, right? So when, for example, 5 years bond you 3%, TD probably we issue bonds at 4%, you know, this is like about 1% riskier than government Canada. So that's the cost that we issue a 5 years mortgage, and that's not all 4%, and then we have to add up operating costs, branch,
Broker's fee.
yeah, TD had to pay me just a little bit. So probably our cost is like, I don't know, 4.8. So that's our cost. Then, okay, you might see 4.99. Okay, if you have a strong size, you're decent client, probably like most discount I see, right? Insure mortgage, 4.99, let's say. So we don't make that much money if you look into it, but we're talking about hundreds of $1 billion times 0.2. That's a lot of money, okay? So that's, if you see the trend, to be simple, as we predict, which for last year to this year, the bond yield goes up because you see on the news, the central banks, Canada, the Fed Reserve in States, they keep raising interest rate to control inflations. Okay, so this is go a little bit outside of what we discussed today. Inflation hurts people everywhere. Politically, it hurts the government because inflation means whatever you had like 10 years ago worth way less now. So, for example, we talk about, okay, like 100,000 in Canada. I remember when I first came to Canada, 100,000 is a lot of money. You can buy like a condo or something like that in Halifax, in Nova Scotia. But like 100,000 like right now, not gonna buy you so much. So, and then also people, if you talk about, if in family dinner talk about friend, okay, like everybody complain how expensive, how costly Costco is, oh, shopping, dining is. That's inflation. It means your money, your purchasing power, way lower. So it hurts everybody. And it's bad for the government because it will cost the living costs, people's living costs like so high. People will complain. And if you don't get inflation under control, government will lose power. They will lose vote. So that's why they've been so aggressive to control inflation. And one of the main things they can do in fiscal policy, raising interest rate. So the cost of borrow, buying a car, buying a house is way higher and make people want to deposit, want to put more deposit. Okay, you know what, 6%, I'm good with that. I get like $1 million, you know, I'm good with 6%. So they spend less. So which is going to cool down the economy, and it's a good thing. So we raise it so high, something like COVID will happen. We had to lower it to, you know, to boost the economy. So interest rate, you can see, for example, 5 years, we predict it reached the peak, which already did. And now we stop talking about how far we're going to raise interest rate. Everybody talking about when and how soon we're going to start cutting interest rate. So this is the prediction right now. 3.5 by next year, the bond yield, we probably cut it by like 1%. And that matched the market forecast. We probably will see about 3 cuts this year. And those cuts is different than this. The interest rate we're talking about is variable. It's overnight lending rate. So that means if bank like stop with the money like TD, okay, hey, we can't balance. We issue too much bond. We have to govern for borrow for RBC bond for government. That's the way we use. So that's overnight way they use when they talk about, when you see the news, the Bank of Canada, what they do about interest rate, Federal Reserve what about interest rate. So that's the overnight way we talk about. So this is like bond yield rate. This is like a government bonds or like a GIC you're looking at. This is like for fixed rate. This impact fixed rate. Variable rate is different, but that's what we're talking about. So far, the prediction is we're gonna have about 3 cuts by the end of the year. So not so much, but the sentiment and the prediction is once it kicks in, I don't know, it's gonna be the housing market gonna be even harder. So I hope they do it the right way, and I hope you know they do it in a healthy way, because we don't want to see a bubble, because that's not healthy to the economy. So that's about interest rate, and we need a stable political environment, because a lot of people seen what happened is we had a NDP government between 2015 to 2019. At the time, we seen a lot of raising taxes and not so support to the oil and gas company. Nothing against them, but political wise, so far we are in the 3rd year under UCP government, and then we have election next year. And the current prediction is UCP is leading, and it seems like they will have another government from what we have seen. So, because a stable environment, political environment is very critical to economy too, because you don't want the government change on a daily basis. They're gonna change your personal tax rate. They're gonna change like policy, like what they're gonna do to oil and gas environment, right? So looks like we might have a stable government, and yeah, that's a picture that we saw because at the time the economy been losing momentum in Alberta, last NDP government, and then we're talking about forming a new government to replace the last government, and then we have one of the biggest victory in the province. So and then because before NDP, the Conservative government has ruled in Alberta for 44 years, and then the next election probably still UCP from the data we've seen today. So that's good for economy in economy sense. Okay, this is the duplicate. Okay, so the next topic is we are gonna talk about how to address clients' concern. So probably on a daily basis or communication with clients, phone call, first time, you might come for questions saying, Vivian, is this a good time to buy? Do you think the house price will drop next year? Because it's too high. Would it be too high? The fact is, for first questions, you've probably seen it a lot. If you look at the long term, this is my take. If you look at the long term for the last 24 years, if you look at 5 years, 15 years, 20 years base, house price always go up. Okay, I cannot say always. This is because I hate use the term like always. I don't know what's gonna happen in next few years, But if you look at like long term, you see the house prices always goes up due to numerous factors. One is like inflation, money worth less like now. So
across Canada.
Yes,
Or just
actually, I think this is
Africa.
I pulled it from
Canadian Real Estate Association, so that means I don't know.
Maybe, I think this is
the price looks like the Alberta.
Yeah, more like
I think this is
AREA.
pulled from Alberta. So if you look at like long term, yes, there's like some fluctuation in the short term in like a monthly, quarterly basis. Yes, it always like sometimes goes down, but it creates like buying opportunity. And also, it depends on what your clients need. Are they buying first home? Are they upsizing, or are they buying an investment property? Especially if they're buying the first home, if you're upsizing, that's like you improve your living standard. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like throughout my career, I've never seen a client come back to me, hey Frank, 5 years ago I shouldn't have bought the house. I should keep renting. I never heard that argument. So price wise, throughout the last 20 years, and we can even go way past before 2000. The houses like in the 80s, in the 90s, the house like selling at 50,000, like 100,000. So if we gonna go way back to 30 years ago, probably like you're looking like here. So it doesn't matter. You look at like 30 years, 20 years, 15 years basis, it always goes up. Okay. Next year, I don't know. But if you look at like next 15 years, based on the historic data, I probably think money will worth less and house will worth way more. So that's one of the arguments. Second questions, client might complain. I'm not sure. But Kathy, I think the interest rate too high now. Maybe the mortgage payment gonna be too high. Maybe we're gonna wait like 6 months. I don't know, a year or two before we buy. So the thing is, think about it. That's high interest rate and high mortgage payment affect everybody. So when the interest goes down, what would people think? And even people talk about it. If you know the interest rate gonna drop down in the next 6-12 months, what are you gonna do? You might think once interest rate goes down, people might jump into the market, and it might create a buying or housing media, which there will be a sudden increase of house price. You might want to jump into the market before that if you have planned to buy a first home or investment properties. So I would not wait till the interest rate actually comes down before I buy if this is my plan. And if you look at data, so this is the data back to 15 years ago. This is the housing price change in Canada, and this is like interest rate over interest rate. Every time you see interest rate goes up, house price goes down. Not every time, but if you see the chart, they are pretty correlated. See, every time the interest rate, they even start talking about, okay, the central bank gonna increase interest rate. Price house like goes down. I know this is like not just because interest rate, right? There's so many factors. There's economy, interest rate environment, and also COVID, and also financial crisis. Or you can see the interest rate versus the housing price is always in the opposite direction. So which means if the interest rate goes down, house price likely to go up. So you might, if they talking about cutting interest rate right now, so you might want to action before it actually decrease, because that might be too late and it might affect your plan. So that's the second argument when people ask, hey, interest rate too high, should we wait? My personal opinion, maybe not. And third, okay, if they had question, I might not qualify. Talk to Frank if you don't have the mortgage book yet. Or sometimes they ask questions like complicated. It's like, okay, how do I, if I'm upsizing, how do I buy, sell? I have a house now, I have to sell this house. And I would say if they have already talked to their mortgage banker, their mortgage specialist, if not, they need to action or connect them with one of the mortgage people they know, because that goes to the next topic we're going to talk about. There's like a buy sell case scenario. So, but before that, we had the new mortgage change. So when we're talking about mortgage rules, the mortgage rules, in general, it's been changing all these times. We have heard in the past in Canada, we have 45 years amortizations, then down to 40, 35. Nowadays, if you have insured mortgage, you've paid less than 20% mandatory, max amortization 25 years. If you pay above 20%, that's 30 years. So the shorter the amortizations, assuming the same interest rate, the higher your mortgage payment is. And also, if people, everybody probably heard stress test, that they introduced like 2 years ago, which just to ensure Canadians can afford a monthly payment when in an environment interest rate goes up dramatically. Actually, that's a good change because that's actually what happened in the last 3 years. Interest rate went up quite a bit in the last 3 years. So But right now, we didn't have a financial crisis. Like people didn't foreclose their home, they walk away from their mortgage payments. And now we are at the peak of interest rate, and the stocks comes down. So that was like healthy, steps to ensure that the Canadians not overborrow. So that's a good thing. And the next big upcoming change next year is OSB. So this thing, you might not heard them a lot, but this in real estate is like Canada Real Estate Board. So they are the regulator for the banks, for financial institute. They made the rules. They send the rules to Department of Finance to get approved, and then they will apply to the banks. So the next big thing is, and you will heard about it a lot probably in the next 6-12 months. You heard first today, if you haven't heard about this before, is they're going to apply the change to enforce the bank only qualify 4.5 times of your income. So that's simple enough. You make 100,000, your family income is 100,000 a year. Their guideline is you're not going to borrow over 450,000. Okay, so and
same as Airbnb one, because last year you were talking about Airbnb to 6 times.
Yeah, so about the 6 times in the past when we talk about, hey Frank, I got a client here, how much do you think they qualify? The simple rule in the past we use, assuming the client has no debts and we has no car loan, no student loans, no credit card balance. We in the past we say approximately like 6 times the income. If they make 100,000 a year, they probably can qualify like 600,000 because at the time the qualifying interest rate is really low. We're looking like 3-4% like a couple years ago, right? So then the qualified percent we normally add 2% to their qualifying rate. So qualifying rate is I'm getting 4.99, but we probably use 6.99 to qualify you, to make sure you qualify. That's the current rule of Canada. And assuming you're buying like first house. So that for today, it is already 4.5. And you probably, if you talk to your mortgage broker, your banker, your mortgage specialist, they will still probably tell you, oh, it's already 4.5. Your client probably gonna qualify for 4.5 times the income. So what's the big deal? What's the change? The thing is, if you're looking into it, a lot of clients, they have more than one house or mortgages. Like, I don't know. Like Vivian, he probably has like 20 mortgages. I mean, yeah, we all know she's rich and she probably made a lot of money. But how can some friend of mine, they have like 10 houses, how do they qualify? So what happened is, like bank, we use rental officer. So we assuming or we confirm the existing rental, they rent it out. They have like rent to cover the mortgages. That's called leverage. I make 100,000 a year, but I have like 2 million mortgage. It's possible. It's possible because all the rentals rented out, even the basement suite. So, but now the guideline is big impact on that. Because right now they look at, I don't care how many rental property, how many will you have, 4.5 times straight enough. So for those people, I have made 100,000 a year, not 2 million. I have 1 million mortgage, so that's 10 times. So what does it mean in those cases? Yeah, buddy.
So if I owe like 100 house, right?
Yeah.
So I
You do?
no, exactly.
Okay.
So I put them all the houses on rent, right? So that's considered my income.
Yes. Yes.
So from 100 houses, it says like 2 million. So into 4, like I can borrow more, or is this they're gonna put a cap on it?
That's a very good question. So most banks, they have a cap on it. Even though, how about I make 2 million? Can I buy 200 houses? That's like actually a cap. For TD, we cap it about like 5. The general guideline is you can only have 5 home mortgages or HELOC in TD. Some banks, they allow 7. Some banks, they allow 13. I know they're cutting back. So that's a hard cap. I do a lot of house clients, they do have like 9 properties in TD, We make exception, but that's called exception. So we don't make exception like every day on every clients, right? Only good clients, only like on extreme exception. So couple things. First, that's like hard cap. So that won't be a bank that give you 100 mortgages. probably you'll see some lender. I don't know, CIBC or RBC, they probably give you, okay, I will give you 10. Okay. You're like a doctor, you're a lawyer, or you like a CEO of some company, you make $1 million a year, sure, we're comfortable enough, we're gonna give you 10. So that cap in there. That's one thing. The second thing is when banks qualify you, they don't. We had discussion, clients come, hey, Frank, I'm gonna buy this house. 2 suite, I'm gonna rent it 4,000. I do the math. The mortgage only 3,000. So I have 1,000 net cash flow. That's no banks do it like that. Because you have to consider depreciation, vacancy, property taxes, insurance. So that's a formula the bank use.
Okay.
We don't know, okay, like 4,000. You're not gonna get 4,000. You have to pay like your property taxes, you have to pay, vacancy. You cannot assume my house gonna rent like no vacancy at all. They gonna the last tenant gonna move out 12 p.m. the next tenant gonna move out the next day, right? That we always assume that's like 5%, 10%, even in between tenants.
Okay, Frank, so I have a question. So
Yes.
if this currently existing house have the tenant occupied already, so how does the bank qualify this kind of the investment property?
So like right now, most banks, we either use existing tenants, provide proof of lease or monthly payments, or most banks nowadays we do some so-called market rents. We just send our appraiser, like we price the house, but we price like the market rent. We see this thing, oh come on, like this crap like not gonna rent out like 1,800. So we hire professionals to assess, give you a range, probably 18 to 2,000, and that's pretty accurate. So that's what we use. But in a market like this, you can argue, oh no, I do sign a lease for 2,500 and the client already made deposit, or this is like my existing rental. I did rent it for that much. So depends on the nature. We will either use market rent or existing rents.
Okay.
And to use to qualify the mortgage. So back to the new rules. It's really hard cap because if you owe more than one mortgage, one house, because this, for example, like me, if you use this one on me, I'm probably not gonna qualify because 4.5 times, I'm highly leveraged. I probably like my ratio is probably 1 to 10. So it means like I make 100,000 and I probably have like 1 million, mortgage. And especially your client, especially your returning clients, they probably like, hey, I'm gonna come back like buy second house, buy third houses, right? What I'm gonna do? So is that gonna kill the momentum of investor or people buying gamble, right? Probably that's not their first home, right? For majority of them, right? So yes, I make good money, but can I qualify the third or the 4 mortgages? So that's me. It's good intention because they don't want people buying like 20 houses, right?
But no more new immigrant policy, like 35%.
Okay. Regarding new to Canada policy, as you know, like 5 years ago, TD, I personally, I do the most new to Canada.
Yeah.
In Canada, but they cancel that. Yeah, and I did some new to Canada for you individually. They cancel that policy because some OSFI we got into issue. We had a hard time explaining how Mr. Lee come here, like you give them like million, they don't even make money, So we kind of kept back on that. And then I will have to give you an update like later this year. We will bring it back, but on a smaller scale. So it means we still don't get income, but we will qualify, say, okay, if you're a professional in China, if you have like I start with administration job in here, 40,000, nothing fancy, but we will give you lots of description, on new to Canada. But we are bringing it back. But as far as I know, that's no banks or it's still like right now I know that, okay, it's 35%, no question asked. Most banks, including RBC, they simply show me that you make money. Show me that you actually had an intention, you already got a job in Canada, okay? So, but we try to bring that back. So this new rule particular, so what the real impact is, because 4.5 times, we look at it, I had a lot of clients, they have like more than 2 houses. Or, so first, it's not gonna affect existing clients, if you already have 10 houses, you're okay. Okay, not gonna affect your renewal, and they're not gonna call back your mortgage. To buy more, qualify more. So the new rule, what happened is, this is not like a hard cap, because CMHC, for example, like if your client pay more than 20%, that's like a qualifying ratio. That's like hard cap. If you don't make that income, no, we don't make exception. Okay, so or we can, hey, can we go 35 years? No, that's like hard policy. So this is not hard policy. What it means, it's more like a banking requirement. They don't apply to individual borrower. So this is like TD. What they look at is, out of your 1,000 clients, we want 25%. That's what they've been talking about. 25%. You can make exception on 25% of the clients, but the rest 75, we want to see like they don't exceed 4.5 times. So it means we can still make exception. For example, we can get 5%, 10% new to Canada. You know what? They don't make enough income. We can still give the mortgage. They or some business owner on the book, they don't gain enough income. We can still make exception. So on the book, they made 20,000, but they had a 2 million in the bank. We could potentially give them $1 million. You know, so we will still make exception. But the thing is, our hands will tighter because now they put a cap on it. So there's a several consequence or things gonna happen as banks. They will compensate, reward the clients make good income, qualify under this rule, so that they can make up more exception for clients that won't qualify. For example, like new to Canada, like high level of client, like rental client, Airbnb clients, because we understand the value of those clients. We will still make exception, but their hands tighter. Okay, so this thing, it just comes out like 2 weeks ago. You will hear people talk about it. Like last stress test comes up, I get a lot of calls like, hey, what does this mean? So what happened at the time is people know we're gonna affect a lot of clients. So they actually start a lot of the clients are jump into like rushing into buying houses before the new rules kicks in. And you will get busy before that. And then the market might, if nothing else happened, might slow down a little bit when clients like adjust, and then banks, they adjust to the real world. They probably tighten up the policy a little bit for the next 6-12 months. And then once they figure out, okay, how they're gonna mitigate the change, then they will loosen up and client will, okay, we will find ways to how to, work with clients to make sure they still qualify that, for clients made reasonable income and had reasonable debts. So we will adjust to it. So in the long term, we made tons of changes throughout the year. Like I said, amortization change, policy change, stress test. In the long term, it gonna work out. But in the short term, there might be impact. So if your client asks you, hey, Kathy, had you heard about this 4.5 times? Yeah, I talked to my banker. In the long term, we have changes like this. Not gonna have like real huge impact, but yes, it will have short-term impact, and it will it will affect how bank underwrite their policy. Just like I said, predict highly leveraged clients. We don't want to see clients, homemaker, but have like 30 houses.
How about if there's an exception made for the one who without any income, but they have the bank deposit?
Yeah. That's so-called high net worth clients. So what it means, if for some reason they have a lot of deposit, like $1 million, $2 million, as long as we can rationalize how they accumulated money, we had to come up with a story and probably back up with bank statement. Okay, yeah, they've been running successful business for 10 years, but they don't pay them so much. That's why they have 2 million. But I can't say, Miss Lee coming from China, yeah, that's like 5 million. Like, don't ask question. Here we go. But as long as we can explain how they accumulate the money, yes, we will give you money. We will give you the mortgage based on the leverage they have. Because they're gonna offset the risk, like without qualifying income. But that's the exception. We cannot make exception on all occasions, but we will make exception. Yeah. So So when you ask the new change, it will impact, but don't worry about it long term. And also call me if you had concern or your client had concern. Okay, so this is like a I see this a lot this year. So this is like a scenario, especially in Calgary, a lot of young family, a lot of first time home buyer, and if you're industry veteran, you probably your clients coming back, hey, thanks for buying, getting me the first house 5 years ago. Now I'm gonna buy, kind of like upsizing. We have new kid, new family, or we just want a big house. So in this case, in scenario, clients buying a new home 800,000, but they have existing home, they want to sell it. And then the existing home, let's say they take home, they sell it for 550. So subtract the lawyer fee, realtor fee. Let's say they have 500,000. So question is, so how am I gonna do it? Because I want to sell my house and then pay the cash or the equity. I'm gonna buy next house. That's a several way to do it. And probably a lot of people will think like a bridge loan.
Yeah.
So bridge loan is simple enough, but it could get complicated because bridge loan only works if you sell your existing house, but just not closing it.
Yeah.
So let's say, hey, I had a house. I have a house right now, and I already made offer to the next house. You can get a bridge loan if you sold your existing house, but they're just closing later.
Yes.
But you cannot say, oh, my intention is to sell it. I don't know when. I want a good price. So you cannot go with intention. Intention doesn't count. So if you so how bridge loan works? If I sell my houses for 500,000, next house 800, the bank, if you sold it with an unconditional offer or the conditional waive, we will bridge you. We'll give you 500,000. So let's say you have no money, no cash in hand. You can only apply 300,000 mortgage, and then we will give you 500,000 as bridge loan. That's scenario one. Okay. For scenarios, for example, say, hey, we don't want to come on. We probably gonna sell it, but after we move into our new home, right? We don't want to give too much pressure that want to sell it right now, or I'm not gonna sell my house cheap. On those cases, there's still solutions. What we can do is we can do like a home line credit. Scenario number two, assuming the client makes strong income, 300, 200,000 a year. Okay, they're buying a new home, they pay off their old home, worth 500,000, or they're gonna take off 500,000. Then the new home's at 800,000. So what we can do is we gotta give them a home line credit. So HELOC is home line credit, 640,000, and after they move to the new home, they're gonna set. They already sold their houses, or they haven't. So in this case, they don't have to sell their houses. So but they probably gonna in this market they have no difficulty selling their houses. So assuming they're gonna get 500,000, we're gonna give them 440,000 in the beginning. So how home line credit works is a limit. You can choose to lock in whatever portion you want. So in these cases, so they still have to come up with 20% because that time you don't have to pay CMC premium. Okay, save the money. So we can give them the rest 640. They will have to come up with 120,000, either cash or they finance the old home, get the equity out for 160, and then assume they're gonna sell their houses. So we're gonna only lock in 140,000, like 1 year, 2 years, because I'm gonna tell the clients, Mr. Clients, we're gonna give you 640,000 at closing, okay? And you pay 120 to 20% down payment, so that get you close to the deal, okay? But other clients say, hey, I don't want to borrow 600,000 because I probably Charles is gonna sell my house in 2 months, and I'm very confident my house is gonna sell quick. And I don't want to lock in 600,000 that I pay interest that I don't need to sit on a bunch of cash, right? So this is the perfect scenario. We're gonna give you them 640, and we only lock in 140. So 500,000 is floating. They can pay it off anytime. They can get the line of credit after if they want to buy a second house, buy investment.
Okay.
You know, so bridge loan. If clients went conservative, you know, I don't want to borrow anything, and I sold my house. Yes, we can get interim financing, bridge loan, or we can finance home line credit just to bridge me through the next house. So once this house sold, I just end up 140,000 locked in, and in the same time, I pay low interest on the 500,000 that I'm gonna pay off for 2 months before you sell the next house. You sell my existing house for me. So this is one case scenario.
Okay.
Any questions?
The HELOC 0.8 have to be based on your income or no need?
Good question. Technically, both bridge loan and home line credit, you need income.
Yeah.
You need to be qualified. Either income or, like I said, high value, right? Or it's like, okay, I don't make much income, but I 2 million in the bank, you know? That happened a lot in Ontario and in BC because, you know, average income is lower than here, but the house price is crazy. So yes, you need income to qualify, okay? And this is like on the buy-sell cases.
Okay.
And also applying to if, hey, I want to buy a new home, but keep paying the existing home, which is pay off.
Mhm.
Then we probably refinance the existing home, which is going to be a rental.
Okay.
Use that as down payment for the next house. And then we can still either do a line credit or just finance the balance of a 300,000, assuming if I don't have any cash, or I pay 100,000, okay? I can take equity out from this house is 500,000. We can take 80% and then the rest coming from the new home. So, and assuming this, they're gonna be qualified, that's income, right?
So 80% is still the highest possible.
Yes, because
People may qualify around.
depends on the income. So the 65 and 80%, so 65 is the regulation on home line credit, because the regulation in Canada, you cannot have a home line credit or revolving home line credit, like a home line credit is like a credit card, like but it's based on your house. By regulation, we cannot give you a home line credit over 65% of the house value. So how we do it is, okay, how we do 80% is that extra 50%, we will lock it in. So it's like a hybrid product that we develop based on the regulation. So the 140,000, which is the 15%, it has to lock in. So technically that's not home line credit. That's like a lock-in portion of mortgage inside line credit. That's why we will be able to give you 80%. Because that's right. If, okay, you know what, I don't want to lock in anything. Yes, then 65%. That's the max you're gonna get. And you can pay it off anytime, home line credit, okay? It's cheaper than any interim financing. Oh, by the way, the interest rate on bridge loan is really high. Normally it's 2-3% or 4%. But and also you need to qualify. You can't say, oh, you know what, I made no income, I'm gonna sell this house, buy this house. Can you bridge me for, you know, for 3 months? Because bridge loan, most banks, we do it when we finance your new home. It's really hard to get a bridge loan and say, hey, I'm not gonna get a minimum wage. I'm just walking to a bank. You know, some banks you might have a hard time by finding people like do it for you for bridge loan. Yeah, but let me know if you had clients buy sell, you know, or they had questions, because we see this a lot, especially in Calgary. Okay.
How much is the interest rate for home line credit?
Good question. It depends. In TD, it's automatically calculated. It could be priced from pi plus 0.2 to pi plus 0.6, depends on the amount. So the general guideline is if your home line credit is over 400,000, you'll get pi plus 0.2, 300,000 pi plus 0.3, and 250 pi plus 0.4. That's the general guideline. Of course,
5.0.
prime rate plus
Prime rate.
0.5. Most banks, prime rate as of today is 7.2.
7.2 is too high, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
because we increased interest rate by about 5%. So last
That's a
2
lot.
years, yes.
I don't think this.
No, this is only for a short period. You will
Exactly.
sell your house and to buy. So you don't need to lock 2 years, 5 years.
Exactly.
Only maybe less
If
than
you
1
buy a
year.
client,
Variable?
yes, it's variable.
Yeah, yeah.
let's say the interest rate is probably plus 0.5%. So it's 7.7. Sounds high, but let's say if the client buy a house, they're gonna move in August, and then they sold their house, closing in September 1st.
Yeah.
They only need it for a month.
Yeah.
Right? It's still cheaper than they get than getting a 5 years or
Yeah.
2 years mortgage.
Compare the long period.
Yeah, it's only 1 month, right? And it's cheaper than bridge you know?
It depends on the situation where we use it.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tool, it's a solution, right? And it's an option.
Can I say
Yeah.
the HELOC qualification, if you need to qualify 640,000, do we still use 4.5% income, and that the client will need to have at least 145,000 a year income in order to qualify in this scenario
In general, yes.
in general?
Yes,
Okay.
they have to make like a 150,000
Mhm.
household income, assuming they don't have car loan, they don't have like a Ferrari, they pay by like 2,000 a month. Okay. So outside that is exception. You need income to qualify. It's the same as mortgage.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it easy to have the exception?
It depends. Let's say it depends on what exception you want, right? Hey, if I want 100,000, okay, it's only 450,000. Can I get 460? Yeah, probably yes. Can I get 600,000? Probably no, unless you have like 200,000 in the bank, right? So that's why one for me, because every case is different, right? Yes, it's like exception, right? It depends on how far you're gonna go. Okay, it's I make like 50,000. Can I borrow a million? Probably not, right? So depends on how big's the gap, right? And also we will consider, do you have family can co-sign for you? Do you have another house? You know, are your business for sale? Can we look at your financial statement to show you actually made more money? You know, or you have like a 500,000 stocks investment. So we will take all those into consideration, because the banks we know is hard to qualify people, and the bank we still want to issue mortgages. We still want business, so we will walk around based on the policy regulation to make things work. Yes, we'll make exception, but it's case by case. Yeah.
Okay.
But in general, yeah, we do give exception. Okay, so that's mortgage rules and policy. Okay, yeah, so that already covered the policies. I get about 10 minutes for Q&A questions.
Okay.
Any questions online or any questions based on what we discussed today? Oh, we didn't cover today?
Yeah, we have 9 people online. So if anything, yeah, a question, you can text in the chat, and
Yeah.
also maybe you can unmute your microphone to ask the question.
Question, so
Yes.
depends on the new policy 4.5 type.
Mhm.
Do you think will affect the next 3, like the rest of this year real estate market?
Right now, I haven't seen, it has been this, because I get a lot of like firsthand, information. So even around the mortgage brokers or the realtor world. So I haven't seen everybody been talking about it. They will start talking about it probably in 3 to 9 months, because it's a government imposed policy. But like we discussed, right? If they ask question about it, I give you the answer. They're gonna be impact in the long term, not so much. In the short term, yes. So like this year, I don't think we'll have real impact, because they talk about they're gonna kick it in January 1st, 2025.
Oh, so it's not right away, it's
2025.
next January, okay.
No, that's why a lot of people they haven't. It's not.
Not
gonna happen like
aware of
right
this yet.
And people will also discuss, oh, like, come on, I saw the news. You're not gonna, maybe not gonna impose. I personally think they've been discussing this like for a long time, and then they see the housing prices in BC and Ontario's off the roof. So I think it's gonna come, but like I said, probably by the end of the year, people will talk about it, and banks, we will still we have shareholders, so and in
Yeah.
banks, we will still issue mortgages. So we will find a way to come up with new policy to ensure that we still do.
But my main
Business as
people make a quicker decision by the end of this year.
Yes, so exactly. So
This will change next year.
if this thing become a real concern, when we actually see it happen on the news, that's when they say it gonna happen. Then, yes, there's a lot of hey, we talk about buying rental property. I see the new rules. Let's buy like this year because
Yeah.
it gonna impact me like January 1st, right? Yes, you will see that happen because that's what happened when they introduced the stress test.
Mhm.
A lot of people like draw into the market. You have like a 2 months period, like you're so busy because clients, okay, I'm not sure I'm gonna qualify based on the new stress test. So before that, you'll get busy.
A pre-sale project need to lock in this. year.
Exactly.
Okay,
So-
so yeah, did you have the question about this new rule will be applied for the refinancing house?
Any financing, yes.
Any financing, even
Refinancing, we talk about if you have a free and clear house, you want to get a line credit, get it right now, call me today. Also, if you have a mature mortgage, I'm not happy, the interest rate my bank's offering, I want to transfer to you, I want to transfer to DD, I want to transfer to RBC, that you have to requalify.
okay,
And it will, anytime you apply for increase, new purchase, the new rules, whatever current mortgages policy applies. So it doesn't matter how you qualified 10 years ago, or how you get your mortgage like 5 years ago. It's always based on the new rule. Anytime you switching bank, buying a new property,
Yep.
getting a home line credit. So better like do it right now. If you want to shop around, do it before policy changes.
okay. Okay, any question?
The housing price. What do you think?
What we have seen is, it's already went up like about like 10%, right, from last quarter last year. So, interesting.
First quarter, first 3 months.
Yeah, so I had several like WeChat group or you know they're like WhatsApp group, right? Like 500 people, and then my personal WeChat, I always like post news like about politics, whatever. So and I've been doing this for like 15 years. So what happened is, even before COVID, I always encourage in my group chat when I talk, is the group chat that the main theme about the group chat is like politics, investment, you know, finance. I always encourage people like, come on, you gotta buy it before it's too late. So I've been setting it. Vivian knows because she's in the group. I've been saying this for years, and it turns out I was right because since COVID, every year is like 10%, 10%. So if you look at the house prices, and also like applies to stocks too. So if you look at the, I'm also a stock investor. So if you look at like for past 5 years, even like Suncor or TD, that's at some point it's like half price than today's price. So in the last few years, stock market, economy, and housing prices have gone up. My personal prediction, I think it's still gonna go up unless something unpredictable happen, like
About Calgary or both of them?
Calgary and Alberta, especially Calgary, because we are in Calgary. Because like I said, if so many people are coming in, they're not gonna stop. They're not gonna stop immediately, right? So because we have a stable environment, we have a new pipeline, and then if we are here long enough, we see like several major layoff from the oil and gas company. Because if you see the oil price, it has been like $40, $120, $50, and one time it's like $0 because you know OPEC was having a war, you know, with the U.S. producer. So the oil and gas industry, they have seen ups and downs. In the past, they introduced like project, hire like tens of thousands of people, and then hire tens of thousands like engineer people, you know, had booming, ramp up the production, and then suddenly the oil price went down, and then they get burned. So they have seen it. And right now, what happened for the last 2 years? If you look at like oil price, the oil and gas industry, if you look at the stock price of oil and gas company, now they are taking the conservative way. They are taking the production goes up, but goes up really stable. So they've been like they are very conservative and they play really safe because they know if the house price is at 85, it's $85. It's actually $86 today. They have seen it drop down to $50 in 3 months. So they've been increasing production very much, not by a crazy amount, and they hedging their oil prices just in case it goes down. So the good thing they're doing that is we probably not gonna see some crazy layoff like we seen like a few years. Oh, Suncor, CNRL, they cut off like 2,000 people because then it's gonna affect a lot of people's economy, household income. So the good thing is they've been using those money to pay dividends. It's like instead of we gonna fold another 10 billion to buy another project, we purchase their stocks. They give out dividends. They pay shareholders. They pay executive. So which is healthy because in the state in Canada, we haven't seen the oil and gas. They fold in like mega projects. Let's do 10%, 20% increase, which is healthy because it's all about supply and demand. So the supply has been steady. It goes up, but it's very steady. So economy-wise in Calgary, it looks like it's very stable. You know, I don't know about like 20 years from now, but the next 10 years, the world's probably still be oil and gas. You know, and especially if you look at Tesla price, it's $280 and it dropped down to 160. So they have been a lot of setback from the electronic car like market. So that's a lot of saying that the oil and gas demand is not even peak. So it means the world still needs oil and gas. I don't know, at least for the next 10 years. So we will have people keep coming in, money keep coming in. I don't know how crazy the house price.
People came in because the Alberta government's campaign,
this Alberta's calling.
Yeah, but
Yeah. So
now
also,
they ended up that campaign because they say it's overpopulated already.
yes, so that campaign actually like was one of the best campaign.
Yeah.
That campaign, you can say it's ended, but yeah, that's a very good point. But if you look out Alberta calling, the website's still there.
Mhm.
So if you have newcomer or if you had clients, they were like, hey, what about Alberta? Why should we move to Calgary? Actually, that's a very good website. Because if you go onto the website, it lists several advantages moving to Calgary, moving to Alberta. We get mountains, we get jobs, our house price, you know, yeah, it's higher than before, but it's nothing compared to BC, Ontario, right? You will spend like $1 million, you're probably not gonna see a single house, right? And then also a tax rate, we don't have HST, you know, we just have 5% GST. So it's very affordable and livable province. So that's a very good website. Yes, they've been like doing advertisement all over Canada. And if you check the news lately, they actually they often this is a very successful campaign. They say Alberta's calling and Canada's answering because you see the data. People coming to Alberta from all over Canada. You know, yeah, I'm not sure you were here, right? Anyway, so this is like an influential, like, you know, Ontario, BC, like people keep coming to Canada. So that's a very successful campaign. And if you wanna get more information for your buyers out of the province, out of the country, Alberta calling, that website is a very useful website. They have a lot of data. They have a lot of like picture, like photos. Yeah.
Okay.
So Frank,
Yes.
out of the 200,000 people moved to Alberta last year.
Or they are like not some of the belonging here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know what's the percentage come to Calgary? What's the percentage went to Edmonton?
Actually, no. No, we don't have that. But our sensor, the Calgary population, we have 1.41 million just Calgary, okay? Not Okotoks, not Chestermere, not
Calgary 1.4 million?
oh yeah. When I first come to Calgary, it was like 900,000. So
Because right
Which year?
now, Calgary.
2006, 2007.
1998,
How many people in the design?
under a million, not
Yeah.
change a lot.
Yeah.
So it's 140 something,
140 or 1.4?
140. I saw some data from the.
140.
1.4.
140? I don't know.
I
That's
think Canada doesn't have that much population.
Okay, so from the hard question, so for the new energy, what do you think will be affected for the oil gas station? Yeah,
the new energy.
yeah,
So the new
yeah.
energy, we the new energy, because I haven't seen like new energy, because new energy we be talking about probably like electronic cars, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
it's solar energy, hydronic.
Wind,
So,
solar,
yeah, those
yeah.
are not new. We knew it for like 100 years, like solar panel. The thing is, I'm not sure you know. There's a town in Alberta. I even forgot the name. It's like a little south of Okotoks. They almost bankrupt the town. They build a lot of home based on like solar panels.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
It was like news like last week.
Yeah.
They're not doing quite well. And also, like I said, electronic cards, they had a big problem. Rental company, Hertz, you heard about Hertz?
Yeah,
Hertz
yeah.
Canada?
Yeah, they canceled the
They
order.
canceled the plan because
Yeah.
they had a plan to buy 100,000 electronic car from Texter. Not Texter, like everybody, right? But mainly Texter. They canceled the plan because they lost a lot of money. Like leasing out like electronic car is high maintenance. The price like dropped down. There's no resale value. So electronic cars, that's a big F. For what now? Tesla's like Elon Musk Tesla, they lose like a lot of money. If you look at the stock price, it was
1,600 something.
Is Aiden there?
December. I was
Aiden?
thinking about
Where is
buying it.
Aiden?
It was like
Tesla.
$100, went up to $280
Tesla.
and then now dropped down to like $180. So it means the market they had a big question mark. Is it even sustainable? Is people really transferring to electronic cards? Let's say yes, because a lot of problem with
Uber
electronic cards.
driver, they still use.
In China, I was in China in December.
Like,
100% like Uber driver, they call it Didi in China.
Yeah.
100% electronic card, because the problem is cheaper. I want it every day, but I asked my father, hey, why don't you just like electronic card is cheap? It's really cheap. Me and my girlfriends there. We saw a pink fancy car for BYD.
Yeah.
40,000. It was like a BMW. It's like, oh. And I asked my father, hey, like what? And I'm asking my friends, like, why you guys still drive BMW? Why just like the gasoline car?
Yeah.
They said there's no resale value. You cannot sell it, and it's the maintenance is really high.
Okay.
And also a lot of electronic car, they only bought it within like 5-7 years. It's not been proven. Like, okay, like, am I going to change the battery? I'm just like, oh, I spent like $100,000, just gonna dump it in 7 years. So that's all the big question F. So let's say even it's a big success. They're gonna replace all gasoline car. The most aggressive states across the world in Europe, in the US, their regulation is we gonna not selling gasoline cars from 2035. That's like 6 states in the states, including California. They say we're not selling new gasoline cars 2035, which is about 11 years from now. So it means before that, they will still sell tons of gasoline cars.
Yep.
And they can buy gasoline cars from other provinces, just join there. And also, like Toyota, their advertisement, there's like, if you can buy a gasoline car, it lasts 50 years. So probably for the next 100 years, people will still drive gasoline cars. And what about India? What about Africa, right? They're not going to just jump into electronic cars immediately, right? And I'm not going to fly an electronic power plane, I'm not going to do that, right? Or like a cruise ship. What if they lose power in the middle of the sea, right? So, the oil consumption like right now, it's still like the demand is pretty high. And also, that's one thing. They probably heard about a lot of it, about ESG, environment, governance. What's it as? I forgot. Anyhow, so it means what they talk about today, like protect the environment, government, those rules, they had a big hit on the oil and gas environment. They give them so many regulatory. It's really hard to do a new project, oil gas project, a new pipeline. So it means the production has been capped.
Okay.
That's why the oil price like still like $86 like today. So, and I don't know, and especially in Canada, consider how cold it is. I don't know.
Okay.
Like I personally, I'm not sure. I'm not gonna, you know. I have friends like buying like third cars, but probably as toys or China, you know, or like they fear they're gonna miss out. So, but I don't think it gonna happen like overnight or in the next like 3 years. So I don't worry about new energy.
Okay, just summarize. It's too early to thinking about the new, the industry of the electric or something like that. And another question is for the refinancing for the new rule. It's we already talking and covered this. That will be applied for the financing, everything like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
And the new rule January 1st, 2025. But again, call me if you had question. Like client asks about financing, call me. You cannot answer, right? My phone is open like 24/7, but don't call me like that. But yeah, I always have interview like we don't have to get that for lunch or whatever. But like call me, hey Frank, I get this question, I get this all up, right? Yeah, call me, catch up, and I am make sure that I provide like up-to-date informations or follow my social media, follow my WeChat, follow my my blog. So
Okay.
I will provide. I normally like provide update on a weekly basis.
Okay. Thank you. So
Thank you.
no more question. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Frank. Yeah, we'll just stop the Zoom. Okay.